Respectfully, Kathleen, it sounds like you would vote against it anyway because
Well, no.
you don't like
If one or
those
the
three
other is-
items. And
If one or the
so
other is
by
convincing,
by
fine.
waiting, if you're still going to vote no, then it won't make any difference anyway.
Until I see the background, that's the decider for me. Do what you want.
Mr. Alt.
Council, just a clarification in the background report. I think it's page 38 of 188. Item 4 indicates annual leave starting employment at the 15-year level. I think if I look at the contract, that should say 13-year level. Just a clarification. As a matter of fact, I think the council, that's what you authorized as the council, and so when we wrote that staff report, we simply put the wrong number in. It is, the contract does call for a 13-year level, so our apologies for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification. Perhaps we can make sure we correct the memo on the website too then. Mr. Nephew.
Kathy, could you just, I mean, since this will be your explanation, I guess, for your vote, besides the background report, what were...
That was one of them, so we clarified it, because if you
Okay.
remember, I said 10, and you said, okay, we could go to 13.
Okay, so you wanted the 10-year level?
I did, but I agreed with you when you said you could ultimately go to 13.
Okay. Oh, so the 15
I wouldn't
was a
give
problem.
anyone a $500 car allowance. I wasn't here when Mr. Fersman was hired. I wouldn't have given it to him, so I don't think I'm going to give it to anybody else. That's just my feeling on that. I think it's overkill. And as you recall in one of our initial conversations about this, while I'm a believer in deferred comp, I'm not a believer in playing the game to get the salary where you want it. And I also believe that you don't necessarily have to give away the whole house before the guy occupies it. I was in favor of 4% deferred comp. I agreed to 5, and you made it 6. So I think those are things you can reward somebody with after they've been here at least 6 months and proven that you're going where you're going. And, you know, that's just a philosophical difference, and it's fine. You can do what you want to do, but those are my reasons.
Okay. So I just thought that you should be given a chance to put
Thank
that
you.
clearly on the record, that that's where you're at.
Okay, so what is the pleasure of the council?
I will offer a motion to approve the employment agreement with James Antonin, contingent upon the successful completion of a final background check and subsequent approval and ratification by the city council, which we're expecting to happen hopefully next week.
Okay, I'll second that. We have a motion and a second before us. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Juneman, first to vote?
No.
Mr. Jelly?
No.
Mr. Rossbach?
Aye.
Mr. Nephew? Let's make the call.
Well, I'm thinking that if I voted no, that I could offer a motion to reconsider after asking for Eric's reasoning, which came as a surprise. So I'm going to vote no.
I'm going to vote, Mayor votes aye. So the motion fails.
Madam Mayor, I offer a motion to reconsider.
You're not on the prevailing side.
I am. I voted no. And no
Oh, yeah, okay.
prevailed.
Okay, very good, yeah, sorry. That's opposite, backwards, okay.
We work well that way. Backwards, that is.
So it was a motion to reconsider. I guess we could ask our city attorney, does a motion to reconsider require a second from someone also on the prevailing side, or any second?
I think it's any second, as long as the motion comes from the side that prevailed.
Right,
which in
yeah,
this
I
case
think
is no.
it can be any second.
Okay,
So it does require a second now.
Okay, I'll second it.
thank you. Under discussion, I'd like to ask Mr. Jelly, what is your reasoning for voting no on this?
It's none of your business.
None of your business.
It really isn't. I mean, you know, this is the problem, John. Every time someone does not agree with you, does not think that you're going to follow your rule, you always want to reach out emotionally and ask them what their opinion is. And the reality is I have a very good opinion. It's my personal opinion, and I'm going to vote no. You do what you want to do. There's no reason for you to know what I'm going to do. I don't personally, for the most part, care what you vote on, what your decisions are, what your thought process is. That's yours. This is mine. I voted no. Call the question.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second before us on the table. We had some extra discussion. Mr. Rossbach, additional discussion.
This is reconsider motion?
I would just say that, that I don't understand your logic, Derek. There
Don't have
are.
to.
You don't have to
there-
understand it. I
I'm
don't
speaking.
care what your
You're
thought
not.
is.
The fact that you don't care what the rest of the council and you have been working on for a year just shows why the council has problems. Because we are a group who's been working on this issue. Now we get down to essentially what would be the final vote, and you think that it's not important that we don't know what it is that you think. And so that is why you don't do a very good job at this.
Mr. Jelly.
Are we calling the question on reconsidering? Is that what this is about?
Well, this is the motion
To
and
reconsider?
the second that we have on the table is that Mr. Nephew has, this is the procedural way that this has gone, is that there was a motion and it was then voted down.
Right.
Mr. Nephew was on the prevailing side of
No, I know
voting
that,
it
but
down.
right now, what we're talking about is just the reconsideration motion, correct?
Just a
Right.
motion to
Thank you.
reconsider.
Okay, so with that in mind, Mr. Jelly, you have the floor.
You know, for the longest time I've sat up here and have put up with the weenie factor. It's probably the best way I can explain it, of you two not being able to make a decision on your own without worrying about some ramifications or how it's going to affect you politically or any other thing. You know, it's amazing. I have my personal opinions. I have my personal view as to why I'm not going to vote for this. We're having another vote on Monday. Frankly, about 99% of what Kathy just said, I actually agree with. And that's why, one of the reasons why I'm voting no, and there's other reasons too. And you know, it's just really none of your business. And for us, you to sit back, Will, and say, oh, this is, you know, you don't care about the process or you don't care about the rest of us. You know what? You actually sat in the interviewing of the three final candidates. We had 90 minutes to interview these individuals. You had 3 questions that you asked, and one of them was about the candidate's wife and kids and family. For the life of me, I cannot believe anybody who has actually had any kind of experience in any professional realm whatsoever that would possibly, as an employer, ask an employee a question in an interview about their family. That is just so beyond mind-boggling to the level of you being clueless as to what your obligations in your job is as a council person. In a Plan B form of government, this is your number one job. This is the biggest, most important thing you've ever had to do. And you do absolutely nothing. You're basically introduced to the people that meeting. You never do any legwork to talk to anybody, do any kind of checking anything with, even with the pathetic efforts made by a recruiting firm. And then you take one of your 3 questions and you ask them about their wife and kids. And then you actually have to sit there and tell me that, oh, I'm not sharing with you the process, or I'm not being a part of letting you know what the team thinks about the process of hiring this city manager that we've all been working so hard for. You know, I found it absolutely stunning when you actually had an opportunity to participate in this process that you sat back and forced us all to go through because of your incessant whining like a 3-year-old for how many years up here about, oh, there was no process on anything. And then you take your opportunity to sit there and ask, which if you ask that question in the real world, you get sued, Will. You have absolutely no right as an employer to ask a prospective employee about their wife and kids. I mean, that is, you know what, you jumped on me for talking, and I'm, no. The reality is,